interesting the building upon. There's the things that are kept informationally here within the material, but then there's the other aspect where it's just in the collective conscience, or like the morphogenetic field, or whatever you're calling it, and that stays, and it's just where we pull who we are from. Like, it's interesting seeing drawings from the past versus now.
Right. Right. But it's also interesting to also think about the drawings from the past. Were they really placed there to look as symbolic as they do?
Yeah, they have their symbolism. I don't know what point in time, but there was a certain point in time where they weren't able to make 3D looking art or 3-dimensional art.
Right.
And like a table was hard because there's the 4 legs, and they couldn't figure out how to represent that to not make it look flat.
I see. Here's my take on that. I think they did. I think the program started without visualizations. And I think some of the program, in order to keep us within this program, because and what I mean the program of this age, because the information on the planet is much longer than this age. And because we walk upon it, there are certain areas that we have access to. It's just like being in school and somehow sitting in the teacher's lounge, but it's still in the same school, so we can't keep the kids in the teacher's lounge. They may discover their program before the experiment is over.
Yeah.
And so my take on what I think and what I feel, I feel that allowed us to create our own world because we didn't have a copy. We just had symbols, and we filled in the symbols. And I think the experiment that continues to happen is a multi-dimensional experiment. And the more that we accept other beings on the planet with us, and it's not it's a reality. It's a reality. We're here with dogs, with birds, and we're here with all of that. And in the material world we have it, but also in the ethereal world we have it as well. Some of us have it so strongly that we go in between and we know it. And so when I go back to the jinns, it's like something about them I know. And I don't know if that's their name, like in the Middle East that might be their name, but there's something about them that I really know. And it's not a knowledge of this lifetime. It's almost like as the world ascends at this point, they come into play. And they don't come into play they don't come into play as negatively as it seems. It almost comes into play as if we turned it into a positive energy. And it almost comes into play that we experience them negatively. And not all of us, but those who, there's billions that won't, but those of us who have a matching DNA, be like, something's in the line, in my ancestral line, it's been there. It shows up every lifetime, and it's on a certain person, and they do the certain thing, and they sit in a certain position, and they don't know, because we all talk to them. And it's just what it is, and that's what it does. And it's not always, it's grumpy, grouchy, it's, it could do a whole bunch of evil things at one time. You learn to live with the dysfunction of it to the point where you learn to love it and balance it out. So you learn to live with the dysfunction of it. And the dysfunction is they're not happy inside of it. It's not like we're telling them that they are saying, I'm unhappy, whatever's, and I wouldn't have to be addiction, whatever's pulling me in a place that I don't want to go makes me unhappy. And they're not talking about, they're talking about it as if it's an entity. something in their spirit is speaking to other people in the truth form. Like they're not talking about it in a sense where it's like something that's pulling them. It's something that one human is saying to another human. And I believe that right now we're getting ready to come full circle and face it. We're actually facing it now. We're facing it as a country right now. We're facing it now. That's what the world is facing right now. The world is facing miserably.